Hey, what's going up, Bull Runners? Welcome back to the channel. Ryan Huggins here, aka Win with Ryan. Traders and crypto holders alike are starting to worry as fear is spreading quietly, pushing prices lower as people sell in this panic. Ethereum has dropped below 3,500. XRP is just hanging on at $2.20, and the whole market feels nervous, like the big gains might be gone. The excitement from this year is fading fast. Even the biggest believers are doubting their holdings right now. But here's the real deal that's easy to miss. This kind of fear is exactly what the patient investors wait for. History shows that when panic hits this hard, levels we haven't seen since early 2025, big players start buying the dip, setting up for the next big jump. So stick with me for the next few minutes. I'm going to explain why this fear gives you an advantage and covers the major moves from Trump and Wall Street that could spark the next big comeback. We'll be heading over to X to find out all the breaking news that's happening in crypto today. Big banks like Morgan Stanley are saying it's harvest time as Bitcoin enters fall season. And at the end of the video, we'll be jumping into the XRP charts, and we are going to be looking for those levels of resistance and support that we were talking about. Plus, we're going to be looking at long-term and short-term momentum and so much more in today's video. So if you're like most people where you don't have the opportunity to do hours a day of crypto research, well, that is what we do for you on this channel. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe right now. And if you are still feeling bullish about this current bull run, let us know by smashing that thumbs up and commenting 777 down below.
Do you love crypto, but are you worried about taxes shrinking your retirement nest egg? Here's the deal. Trading and selling crypto can trigger capital gains taxes, eating into your wealth. A crypto IRA fixes that. Per IRS publication 590B, traditional IRA gains like those from crypto aren't taxed until distributed. That's why we've partnered with iTrust Capital, a leading crypto IRA company in the USA, to sponsor today's video. And they offer institutional grade custody for retail clients that want to set up their crypto IRAs for retirement, leveraging top storage solutions like Fidelity, Wells Fargo, and Coinbase Prime to keep your assets secure. To get started, simply click the link in the description of this video, sign up for free, and fund your account with cash. They also offer 401k rollovers or crypto transfers, and you can trade 24/7 with just 1% transaction fees and no maintenance costs. As always, I'm not a CPA or financial advisor, so consult one for tax advice, and we do earn a commission if you sign up using our link below to fund your crypto IRA account, but that helps support value-based videos like this. And iTrust Capital already has over 200,000 crypto IRA accounts and over $14 billion in transactions, proving they're trusted by smart investors just like you. So click the link below, get started now by funding your account today, and let's create generational wealth together.
First things first, let's head over to CoinMarketCap. We're going to take a look at the overall health of the crypto market today. We are trading at $3.44 trillion total market cap. We're down 0.52%. There has been $164 billion worth of trading volume in the last 24 hours. $3.6 trillion has been our most recent resistance. That was on November 10th. And our next level of support comes in at $3.4 trillion. Fear and greed index is at 25. We are still in the lower level of fear zone. Altcoin season index is 30 out of 100. Last week, it was 23 out of 100. Bitcoin dominance's climb has stalled out here. We're at 59.2%. It was getting way back to 60%. Bitcoin ETF tracker ended up having a nice rebound yesterday, but then another down day today. So we have early this week, minus 12 million, but yesterday, insert $524 million worth of inflows. Today, we have another 34 million of outflows, bringing this week's total to a positive of $477 million worth of flow so far this week. Ethereum, on the other hand, not looking so great. So this week had a day of nothing, and then yesterday, 107 million of outflows. Today, 73 million of outflows, bringing this week's total tally to $180 million for the outflows for the Ethereum ETF. Crypto prices for the top 6 cryptos by total market cap. Bitcoin number 1 at 102,152. Number 2, Ethereum at $34.39. Number 3, Tether at $1. Number 4, XRP, $2.41. BNB back under $1,000 again at $955. And Solana at number 6, $153. It is official breaking news. President Trump is to sign into law the reopen of the U.S. government in 1 hour. So boom, all crypto and stock holding locked in. A lot of people are very excited about what could potentially happen tomorrow. Now, the bill will be signed tonight. Government opens up tomorrow. People think everything going back into regular motion could push this up to the upside. We do have our short-term momentum is cranking to the upside, but our long-term momentum has a ways to climb. Now, what I did want to point out, though, is if you remember, if we go back in history to November 1st, this was November 1st, 2024, price did sit sideways for quite some time. It had a little bit of movement to the upside, but it didn't really gain bullish momentum on our long-term momentum indicator until here, which was November 9th. Now, we also have to understand, though, there was no government shutdown in 2024. And if we look at November 9th, 2025, we did actually hit a nice bottom here, potentially at $2.20, as we talked about in the intro. We had 4 consecutive days of body candle closes right there holding steady, and we did start to surge to the upside. Short-term and mid-term momentum started turning up. So those were positive things. There are signs that point to possibility of moving to the upside. And if we go back in Bitcoin's history to November of 2024, Bitcoin was trading right here at $67,000. And then boom, we had a nice moonshot to the upside for multiple consecutive weeks. As we can see here on Bitcoin as well, the short-term momentum has started cranking to the upside. Price itself has not yet. Mid-term momentum also not. And then long-term momentum not either. So the exciting thing is if we do start building momentum here at these bottoms levels and we start to push up, there's a lot of room to run. This was also an interesting post that I saw from Sir Trades a lot. So the Fed just now increased their transaction limit to $10 million. NASDAQ announces imminent XRP spot ETF launch, which will be tomorrow morning, by the way. SEC gives guidance on crypto taxonomy, all one day before XRP ETFs go live, which is on this Thursday. And this coming from the Federal Reserve Financial Services X account. This just in, the Fed Now Service Network transaction limit has increased to $10 million, up from $1 million. This increase will help financial institutions enable higher value instant payment use cases for their customers, like real estate transactions, corporate payroll, and more. Also, just in, top U.S. business executives to attend a private dinner at the White House with President Trump tonight. While you're watching this, if you're watching this in the morning, it was last night. That's right, business executives from the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, JP Morgan, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs will be there. Also breaking new, as of 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Canary Fund's XRP ETF is officially effective after NASDAQ certified the listing, clearing XRPC for launch tomorrow at market open. On top of that, Eleanor Tourette got an exclusive post from CEO of Canary Fund, Steve McClung, saying here, we are very excited to go effective with the first single token spot XRP ETF. This would not have been possible without the leadership of Chairman Atkins. That would be Paul Atkins at the SEC, Commissioner Pierce, also at the SEC, and all the other fine people at the SEC and pro-free markets. So they threw a nice shot in there to our old pal Gary Gensler. Also, big breaking news for the economy as a whole. Trump admin is looking into normalizing portable mortgages, allowing Americans to keep their interest rate, term, and lender when moving to a different home. So the reason this is so important, by the way, for those of you guys that may or may not be inside of real estate, as you all know, that's my other gig that I do full-time, real estate investment. Well, when it comes to someone who has a 3% mortgage on their house right now, let's say that they were able to, over the last couple of years, make more money, expand their life, and they want to move into a bigger home. Well, if they were to take that 3% mortgage and they want to go buy a more expensive, even a less expensive, doesn't matter. The next home they buy will be at 7% interest. That's what right now the going rate on a 30-year mortgage is. That would literally, if they bought $1 million years ago at 3%, they're paying about $5,000 a month. Now, if they were to pay that same $5,000 a month, it would only buy them a $500,000 house. Their buying power is literally cut in half. But if they were able to transfer that mortgage rate with them, this is huge, breaking, amazing news if they can get this passed for the economy. But hey, for all of you out there that are freaking out, you need to find a shortcut. You're running out of that dry powder. You've dollar cost averaged for so much. You need some more money. Well, here's your last ditch effort. Mega Millions nears $1 billion. And the tax man says, thanks in advance. So they're already, the government's already talking about, the IRS taking your money. So no one hit the numbers yesterday. So the Mega Millions jackpot is now 965 million. It will be $1 billion here shortly. Obviously, before the next drawing, it'll be $1 billion. It's the second biggest prize of the year after September's $1.78 billion Powerball. Could you imagine almost winning $2 billion off of a lottery? Sounds life-changing, right? Sure, until the IRS shows up. A lump sum would drop yours down to $445 million and shrink that to about $280 million after federal taxes. Live in New York, slice off another 10%. Florida, congrats, you get to keep what's left. Next draw is Friday. Dream big, just budget small. So if you win this $965 billion, it'll be cut in half to $445 million, and then you have to pay taxes on that because the lump sum is always paid out in a smaller amount anyway. You could take it out on deferred payments, which they give you a certain amount every single month. Also, a lot of people are missing. Trump continues to say dividend instead of stimulus check, and if you're into stocks at all, you know that it's smart to own dividend stocks. Why? Because those stocks pay you out every single time they pay dividends. Some pay quarterly, some pay monthly, whatever. But this is a dividend Trump keeps on saying, which would be a reoccurring payment, not just a one-time stimulus check. And if you guys didn't see it, David Schwartz did make a post on X saying, I am deeply and $74.24 in debt to Hugo Weaving, Agent Smith from The Matrix, for recording my new voicemail. And then there's a video that was playing that you could hear sound on. Well, in reality, people are speculating that this is the price of XRP because, as you know, David Schwartz is notorious for posting cryptic messages that are related to XRP and pricing. Well, Ripple Bullwinkle says the CTO of Ripple, the guy who built XRP Ledger, posts 74.24 per XRP, then deletes it. It's not random. That's a message. Now, as we talked about in the intro of the video, traders' moods are fading towards crypto, which is welcome news for those patient people. Now, as you saw in the beginning, I do always cover the fear and greed index, and we are in the fear zone. We're not in extreme fear just yet. We may not get there again, but Bitcoin, even bullish bearish ratio of social media comments, significantly lower than usual. Ethereum, just over 50% more bullish versus bearish comments, less than usual. And XRP, less than half of the comments are bullish versus bearish. One of the most fearful moments of 2025. And this is crazy because, as you know, XRP Army always stays consistent with support behind XRP. But right now, people are waning. When the crowd turns negative on assets, especially the top market caps in crypto, it's a signal that we are reaching a point of capitulation, meaning traders are done. They don't care about crypto anymore. They're forgetting about it. And once retail sells off, key stakeholders scoop up those dropped coins and pump the price. It's not a matter of if, but when this will happen next. So as we take a look here, Ethereum being in the gold, we can see it's a little higher than all of the others. Bitcoin is an even amount right now, bullish versus bearish, but XRP is down in the basement here, not doing well at all. It is significantly less bullish than the other cryptos. Now, one thing I did want to post, because we do cover this type of stuff from time to time, this digital ID is bugging me. I'm not a big fan of this. As I've talked about this a lot. This is what bothers me about potentially going full digital and having no fiat currency or dollar bills left. But what's really interesting, this woman here on X named Robin posted, my based retired mom has lots of times on her hand, and she made it her hobby to read hundreds of pages of documents from the World Economic Forum in her spare time. What her mom told her is that they plan to have your digital ID connected to your funds so that if, for example, you decide not to get the jab, they can temporarily disable access to your bank accounts until you do. Any transgression against the slave matrix will trigger the same consequence. Scary stuff. And it's apparently all out in the open if you're willing to sift through their public records on their plans for the future. It's really interesting because people always talk about, I need new conspiracies because all the old ones are done. Well, this is something that's been around for a very long time. You can even, if you ever hear of Alex Jones or listen to Alex Jones from time to time, he's been talking about this exact thing for about 10 years, if my recollection reminds me, I haven't been listening to him for 10 years. I hear him every once in a while, but he's always saying, I read this in the document 10 years ago. Klaus Schwab, he's out there trying to. Now, Klaus Schwab was also forced to step down. What's also really interesting with the World Economic Forum, the new person stepping up in his place, Larry Fink from BlackRock, which is even more scary potential. But let's talk about some positive news. Top 10 crypto headlines. Bitcoin Depot, North America's largest Bitcoin ATM operator, expands to Hong Kong. U.S. House passes spending bill to end 6-week government shutdown. SUI launching its own native stablecoin. USD SUI issued by Bridge, set to go live this year. Circle plans a native token for ARC L1 testnet as Q3 profits jump. ARC is an enterprise EVM network. Gas was set to use USDC, but long-term Circle wants distributed governments. Leap Therapeutics surged 170% after rebranding to CryptoFunk Technologies and buying 50 million of Zcash. NASDAQ certified XRP's ETF. BitDeer confirms a fire at its Moline, Ohio site. Company says hash rate won't be hit, but shares extended their slide, falling 7.5%. Franklin Templeton links Benji to Canton, letting firms tap regulated tokenized funds for collateral and liquidity across permission network. Polymarket reopens U.S. exchange in beta mode, with select users now placing bets on real contracts ahead of planned relaunch per Bloomberg. Also, an interesting one here at the end, Canary Capital files an S1 for MOG ETF. So does this devalue the value of XRP's ETF? Like how awesome it is that it finally happened, considering they're doing a meme coin? Morgan Stanley says it's time to harvest. Denny Galindo, who is a Morgan Stanley strategist, said that historically, data indicates a consistent 3 up, 1 down rhythm in Bitcoin's price cycles. Galindo urged investors to take profits in preparation for a crypto winter. We're in the season of fall right now, he said. Fall is the time for harvest, so it's time that you wake and take your gains. But the debate is how long this fall will last and when next winter will start. This Bitcoin dip marks a technical bear market. On November 5th, it fell below 99,000, breaching a key macro indicator and reigniting debate over the market state. This put Bitcoin below its 365-day moving average, according to CryptoQuant. Analysts say that the metric is one of the most important indicators of sentiment. The drop was widely viewed as a strong bearish signal. All right, checking in on our XRP charts here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this November line. But as we can see, price for the last 2 days have been red. Now, what's interesting, this was a pretty large red candle here on November 11th. Now November 12th, which when you look at this, it's a little different, right? Because it's the November 13th candle. We're still in November 12th. But yesterday's candle ended as a doji, which that's actually bullish for most times in the market. And the other thing that we like here is that it did continue to stay supported at the 10 exponential moving average. Today's new candle is up 1.5% thus far. Nothing spectacular here. But if we look at this and we want to be positive, we do have support here in this supply and demand zone, which is a historical supply and demand zone coming to us all the way back from July, which also was a springboard into a big push. That's actually the new all-time high right there. But what we're looking at is a good support here. We're starting to make our move to the upside. What we really need to see, though, and we haven't seen in a while, is to actually break into new market structure. You can see this was a high. This was a lower high. This is potentially a lower high as well, unless we can actually finally surge. Now, I would like to see us getting up into these levels, the $2.75 zone, and creating a nice support in that level. That would give me a lot more confidence going forward, because then we can move up into our next supply and demand box, which is all the way back up 345. Now, obviously, there is some interference that we're going to experience here. In fact, if we turn on the weekly, it's going to be a little bit easier to see what we're talking about, because you see this red line right here. This red line's coming into us at $2.96. That red line right there is the candle body close on the weekly that we need to get back above. The other candle body close that we're looking at right now is this one right here, as we can see on these two candles, which is actually at $2.65. So if we get up above 265, hold here, now we have new market structure, then we can move up into our next levels and break above the 290, then getting up into like the 350 range. Right now on our weekly, Our short-term and midterm momentums have officially bottomed out at zero. Long-term momentum, though, is getting close to going bearish. This has to make a turnaround. We need 2 to 3 consecutive green candle weeks in a row. Doesn't have to be massive volume or massive percentage gains, but to show some momentum gaining. That would also start to curl up our short-term momentum. Last time, as you can see, short-term was riding bottom. Let me go ahead and turn midterm off. Short-term riding bottom here finally made its turn to the upside. As you can see, that's when price went from $2.20 to new all-time high of $3.66. So the setup is here, is now. Will it happen with the government opening, stimulus checks coming? There's a lot of positive sentiment that could make that happen. But as we know, it's the Trump administration. We could have extremely negative news come out tomorrow, and then we start to dump back into these levels of the 220. If we lose that, then we're coming back to the $1.90. And we would actually go bearish on the weekly, which could be devastating for all of crypto.
If you have 10K or more in crypto, you're literally giving up an extra $300 per month in passive income. You're giving up on a free 3 to 8% additional monthly yield just because it's sitting on an exchange like Coinbase or Binance and you're being lazy. You're taught to hodl, just wait for price appreciation, and this is costing you thousands of dollars. So let's see what happens here. While your assets are sitting there doing absolutely nothing and inflation is kicking your ass. For example, Ethereum didn't do anything over the course of 3 months. XRP didn't do anything over a whole year. And Solana, same thing. It didn't do anything for an even longer period of time while you sat there making no money. And I'm not saying that these are bad investments. It's quite the opposite, actually. But the smartest investors in the world make their crypto work for them to generate additional yield. And why would you not do that? You're holding these crypto assets anyways. It's like buying a rental property and not renting it out. If you hold on to the property because you believe that it's going to appreciate in value over years, why wouldn't you rent it out so someone else can pay your mortgage while you still get the value appreciation? So it makes no sense to just hold your crypto without earning yield on your idle coins. And if you're just holding your crypto on exchanges like Coinbase, your assets aren't safe. In fact, Coinbase was hacked for $400 million and the hackers bribed Coinbase employees so they could access sensitive user information, demanding a $20 million ransom from Coinbase, which the company refused to pay.
I want to make you aware of a disturbing email that we received recently at Coinbase. It was a ransom note demanding $20 million in Bitcoin in exchange for these attackers not releasing some information they claim to have obtained on our customers. I'm going to respond publicly to these attackers by saying no. We are not going to pay your ransom.
And I even received a letter in the mail saying that my information was included in that hack. So I'm speaking from firsthand experience here, not just an article that I read online. So not only are you leaving free money on the table by not earning yield on your idle crypto, but you're also putting yourself at risk of losing it all, getting hacked, or having your account frozen by keeping your crypto on centralized exchanges. Because if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. You already know this, so I don't have to tell you. You can't afford to be lazy with your capital. The US is drowning in nearly $40 trillion in debt, so this is your insurance against the system. To learn how you can earn passive income on your coins every single day while protecting your capital from hacks or scammers, my research team put together a step-by-step tutorial for you to start earning yield on your crypto today, and it takes less than 10 minutes to get set up. All you need to do is go to altcoinpro.com after you're done watching this video, create your account, and click on the Start Here lesson under the classroom, and you'll discover how one liquidity pool is earning our members up to 40% yield on digital assets that they already own. Plus, you can go into the DeFi yield picks and see even more opportunities to earn passive income on your coins safe and predictably with complete control and ownership of your assets. You will make significantly more money by being your own bank. And all you need to do is go to altcoinpro.com to get started right now.